If we had no rat, we had no game. So we started with the rat, and when we were pretty sure that it was possible with 1,000, something like that, we said, okay, we have something, we can work on everything else. So we've started with the rats even before the characters.
A Plague Tale is nothing without its rats, like game director Kevin Choteau said.
If we had no rat, we had no games.
But how did the team at Asobo go about creating their unique rat tech for Innocence? And how have they pushed it further in its sequel, Requiem?
We wanted to tell a story about the plague, the Black Plague, because fighting a virus is not that easy in the game. So to do that, we took the popular image of the plague, which is the rats that are spreading the plague around the countries, which was not the case actually. We really loved that idea, but it means that we needed to have plenty of rats, thousands of rats, to make it believable. It was a good idea on paper, not technically, because again, it means thousands of rats on the screen. We've started with a few rats, like I would say, maybe 10 or 20, to see if we can have a believable behavior. You know, having a rat wandering around and see if we can have animation and things like that were believable at a good scale compared to the character camera. And when we had that, we say, okay, now how are we gonna replicate that into many rats? Because one rat was already very costly in terms of performance. We started with more water simulation, but it was not working at all because it feels too fluid, like a particle, not a rat anymore. We've reimagined everything built up on what we've done with the gameplay to have a more authentic feelings. We've watched a lot of mouse or rats invading farms, strangely pretty close from how they can behave when they are in mass. It's pretty rare, so there's few footage of that, but you can see a crazy invasion of farm in Australia with mouse everywhere, and we are pretty close in terms of behavior. And we had to slow down the rats in our game compared to the actual mouse or actual rats, because they can be much more faster than what we do. So it was the main influence.
The foundational tech for the rats was in place, but how would this translate to gameplay? It's a question that continued to be answered in different ways throughout development.
At first it was like a floor is lava idea. You have rats everywhere and you need to find a way to cross it, so maybe light was a good idea, because medieval time it was hard to have a light, to maintain light, and it was the opposite of stealth, so it was a good idea for our gameplay, but that was it. And by playing with the rats and playing with the tech, we've discovered that it was already also funny to move the rats somewhere, to move the rats using Hugo's power, and to create crazy shapes like we've done in Innocence with those rat tornado. It took us time to figure out what we can do with the rats. The last thing we've done with the rats was the final fight against Vitalis, which was already pretty crazy and pretty last minute, I would say, in terms of development. But it was already a building foundation for what we've done on Requiem, and it was just to try to prototype that on the end of Innocence, to see if it was a good tech for the second game.
But the team wanted to push it further in the sequel. Not just content with controlling the rats from afar, their dream was for the player to become one with them.
We wanted to assume what we've built up in the first one, so Hugo is able to control the rats, and it's not something that we will deny in the second one. But still, when Amicia is alone, the rats are not friends, not at all. And when she's with Hugo, Hugo is able to control the rat, but for a limited time, and it's dangerous. You will discover that. Right now in Requiem we have much more than 300,000 rats on the screen, which is a lot compared to the 5,000 we had in Innocence. So we pushed the tech further and further and further. So it's quite impressive right now. They have their own behavior that is shared among other individuals. As I said, 300,000 AI, different AI. Their behavior is shared amongst few to optimize, but basically they have their own behavior. So you can isolate one rat and having him behave normally. You can take 10 and they will behave differently from each other. I think it was like the team idea day one. Okay, a rat control like that it's cool, but it's not as cool as being the rats. It was something that we had in mind for the first one, but no time to develop it. starting the second one, it was the first discussion about the game design. Let's control the rat and move them around. It will be crazy fun, and killing people directly will be much more visceral than distantly.
Without the specifically designed rat tech, there would be no Plague Tale. It's the engine that drives the whole machine, and something Chateau remains delighted with how it came together.
I'm proud of everything because it's a complicated tech, really based on engineering stuff that you need to understand as a designer, as a game director, as anyone in the team to really take advantage of it. So when you see it in the levels, I think it's a huge achievement. So yeah, I'm proud of everything.
300,000 rats may seem like a lot, but there are grander ambitions at Asobo. When asked where we can go next, Chateau responds with a chuckle.
I don't know, a million, I guess.
For more videos like this, make sure to check out our Plague Tale Requiem exclusive hands-on preview.